Thank you guys for joining us again for another episode of Pursuit of Purpose and our daily quotes. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today our quote is, we judge ourselves by our intentions, and each of us judge everyone else by their actions and results. If we want to be effective leaders, we should always strive to reverse this process. Now, the fascinating thing about this is it's not superficial at all. It's kind of, when you say pregnant with meaning,
yes,
some pretty deep stuff. So we'll try to keep this brief. But what this means is, as you look out into the world with your perspective, you know what your heart is, you know what your intentions are, so you give yourself grace. But you can't know everybody else's, so all you can judge them by is their actions and the results of their actions. So you don't give them grace. And we oftentimes make snap judgments about, oh, well, I know what they meant. But do you?
Or they must have.
They must. Oh, yeah.
Must have.
They must have meant they intended to do that person harm, or they intended to do me harm.
Yes.
Or whatever it might have been. But is it really possible to completely discern somebody else's intent through their actions every time?
There's no way that can be a complete assessment without a curiosity, without asking effective questions. And that is a reoccurring theme on a lot of our episodes is to pursue that with a graceful curiosity. As simple as I see, here's where we are. Is this where you were going?
Right.
Was that what you were intending? And it can be done in a less condescending, more truly curious about the best of what you want. And did you get there?
Yeah, just ask, were these the results that you expected to achieve with whatever action it is, or whatever words somebody else said? You know, how often is it that somebody says something, but then they tell you immediately after, oh, well, that's not what I meant. But you've already made the judgment. Well, it's not what you said.
Right. Oh, many a time, especially when we do things like coaching and counseling, and it's a collective. You've got a group of leaders, or maybe there's some mediating, or there's some counseling. You have more than others in the room, and they can become quite legalistic with the language that they heard, or at least the result that they see.
That's right.
And once that legalism, if you will, gets applied, now it is nothing but judgment. And maybe not always effective judgment. As a matter of fact, maybe it's judgment that's more favorable for me. And I have to be so careful about that, especially in leadership, because is that types of result-based assessing and then judiciously moving forward, is that going to get me and my team and my company where I want it to be?
Exactly. And if you behave this way, especially as a leader, maybe even as a parent, I mean, a parent is a leader. How do you think this is going to help grow those who are subordinate to you, those who are your followers, the people who you have influence over? How does this behavior grow them as people, not just as your team,
right,
but as individuals? Right. If you are a leader, you are charged with always being mindful of the growth of your team.
Yes.
And
is it success oriented, or is it suppress oriented?
That's right.
And if I am suppressing their growth, then obviously success is not a factor. And I like that you brought up the example of parenting. If you're a parent and you're listening to this episode, there's countless times you have maybe said things or did the best you could in the moment and just hope for the best result, and not really understanding your child is watching you and they see you as a more absolute. Mom and dad must have it all figured out, when they don't realize you're probably just making your best guess as well. So to teach your child to have that more grace-oriented assessment of results, that way they don't overjudge their coaches or their teachers or their friends, or maybe even you as a parent.
And I believe in this instance, we could actually stand to learn a lot from children, because in my experience, children actually tend to have this exact reversal of behavior. They tend to judge everyone else by what they believe their intentions would be in the best possible outcome. Children are fascinating in this regard. They look at everyone else with such grace. for a lack of a better way to put it. But I'll tell you what, guys out there, if you're watching this episode and you've got any comments, or if there's anything that you guys have that you'd like to request us to discuss, we'd be happy to go over it. Please hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and follow us on all social media. And again, I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And thank you for allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. Y'all have a great day.